Have you ever found yourself feeling a little stuck? Perhaps you're in a relationship that started with so much promise, so much joy, but over time you've started to notice a subtle shift. The vibrant, ambitious person you once were feels a little dimmed, a little less driven, a little less you. It's a challenging realization, isn't it? To acknowledge that something meant to bring happiness might actually be holding you back from becoming the best version of yourself. This isn't about blaming anyone. It's about honest self-reflection and understanding the dynamics that either propel us forward or sometimes tether us to a stagnant present. If you're ready to explore these crucial insights and protect your personal evolution, then you're in the right place. And while you're here, why not hit that subscribe button? It helps us bring more valuable content like this directly to you. The first sign that a relationship might be hindering your growth often manifests as a subtle but persistent diminishment of your personal aspirations and dreams. Imagine you have a long-held ambition, a vivid image of who you want to become or what you want to achieve. In a healthy relationship, your partner acts as a cheerleader, an encouraging force, someone who not only supports your dreams, but actively helps you find ways to pursue them. They see your potential and reflect it back to you, even when you doubt yourself. However, in a relationship that stifles growth, you might find that these aspirations are met with skepticism, indifference, or even passive-aggressive discouragement. Perhaps your partner subtly mocks your impractical ideas, suggests you're aiming too high, or simply changes the subject whenever you bring up your passions. From a Stoic perspective, this is a dangerous erosion of your internal citadel. The Stoics emphasize focusing on what is within our control, our thoughts, our actions, our character. When a relationship actively undermines your pursuit of virtuous goals, and personal growth is a virtue in itself, a striving for excellence, it's chipping away at your inner resolve, your prohairesis, your moral compass. Psychologically, this constant negative feedback or lack of affirmation can lead to self-doubt, a phenomenon known as learned helplessness, where you eventually stop trying because you anticipate failure or disapproval. You internalize the message that your dreams aren't valid or achievable, and slowly your once bright aspirations begin to fade into the background, replaced by a comfortable but ultimately unfulfilling complacency. You start to adjust your life, not based on what truly excites you, but based on what minimizes conflict or maximizes your partner's approval. This isn't compromise, it's self-abandonment. Another critical indicator is a pervasive feeling of being misunderstood or unheard, leading to a suppression of your authentic self. We all crave connection and validation, the feeling that another person truly sees and appreciates us for who we are. In a healthy partnership, there's a safe space for vulnerability, where you can express your thoughts, feelings, and even your quirky eccentricities without fear of judgment. Your partner listens, not just to respond, but to understand, offering empathy and acceptance. However, when a relationship becomes detrimental to your growth, you might find yourself constantly walking on eggshells, carefully censoring your true opinions or emotions to avoid conflict, criticism, or an eye roll. Perhaps when you share a deep thought, it's quickly dismissed as too much or overthinking. When you express a feeling, it's met with invalidation, like you're being too sensitive, or why are you always so dramatic? From a Stoic viewpoint, this is a violation of your inner integrity. Epictetus taught that we should strive to live in accordance with nature, and part of that is living authentically, aligning our outer actions with our inner convictions. When you constantly mute your true self, you are creating a dissonance that is deeply unsettling. Psychologically, this suppression can lead to anxiety, depression, and a profound sense of loneliness. Even when you're physically with someone, you begin to question your own perceptions and feelings, losing touch with your intuition. Over time, you might even forget who you truly are, as your identity becomes a reflection of what you perceive your partner wants you to be, rather than an organic expression of your unique essence. This isn't intimacy, it's isolation within a partnership. You lose your voice, and consequently, a part of your soul. The third sign to watch for is a noticeable decline in your independent friendships and external support networks. Think about the people who filled your life before this relationship, your friends, family, colleagues. or even members of a hobby group. These individuals often provide different perspectives, emotional support, and opportunities for diverse experiences, all of which contribute to your personal growth. In a healthy relationship, your partner understands and respects the importance of these connections, even actively encouraging you to maintain them because they know it enriches you. However, a relationship that stifles your growth often sees these vital connections slowly erode. This can happen subtly. Your partner might complain when you make plans with friends, express jealousy, or make you feel guilty for spending time away from them. They might criticize your friends, making it seem like their bad influences are not good enough. Or they might simply demand so much of your time and attention that you physically don't have the energy or opportunity to nurture other relationships. From a Stoic perspective, while our primary focus should be on our internal state, recognizing the interconnectedness of humanity and valuing positive social bonds is also important. Seneca, for example, wrote extensively on friendship and its role in a virtuous life. When a relationship isolates you, it robs you of diverse inputs, different mirrors that reflect back who you are, and alternative sources of comfort and advice. Psychologically, this isolation makes you increasingly dependent on your partner for all your needs: emotional, social, intellectual. This dependency creates an unhealthy power dynamic and leaves you vulnerable, as your entire sense of self-worth and belonging becomes tied to one person. Should that relationship falter, you're left without a safety net, without the broad base of support that truly resilient individuals cultivate. It's like building a house on a single, shaky pillar instead of a strong, broad foundation. You should also pay close attention if you find yourself experiencing a persistent feeling of being drained or exhausted, both emotionally and mentally, after interactions with your partner. Relationships, even healthy ones, require effort and energy. There will be times of compromise, conflict resolution, and emotional labor. However, in a growth-destroying relationship, this energy expenditure becomes disproportionate. You might notice that after spending time with your partner, instead of feeling refreshed, loved, or understood, you feel utterly depleted. Conversations might feel like constant battles, negotiations, or explanations where you always have to defend yourself or your perspective. You might find yourself dreading spending time together or constantly bracing yourself for the next conflict or criticism. From a Stoic point of view, our internal peace, our ataraxia, is paramount. While external events will inevitably challenge us, a virtuous person strives to maintain an even keel, to react with reason and wisdom. When a relationship consistently robs you of your inner calm, leaving you emotionally threadbare, it's making it incredibly difficult to practice Stoic principles. Psychologically, this constant state of emotional depletion is incredibly detrimental. It's akin to having a chronic stressor in your life. Your body and mind are constantly in a state of alert, leading to burnout, anxiety, and even physical health issues. You're left with no emotional reserves for your work, your hobbies, or even just for yourself. This isn't just about feeling tired. It's about a fundamental drain on your life force, leaving you too weary to pursue anything else, let alone personal development. Your energy, which should be invested in growth, is perpetually consumed by the struggle to simply exist within the relationship. A fifth significant sign is when you observe a stagnation or even regression in your personal interests, hobbies, or intellectual pursuits. Remember those passions that once ignited your curiosity: reading, painting, learning a new skill, engaging in deep discussions, or exploring philosophical ideas? In a supportive relationship, your partner might even share some of these interests, or at the very least, encourage you to pursue them, understanding that they contribute to your overall well-being and growth. They might even carve out space and time for you to engage in these activities. However, in a relationship that inhibits growth, you might find these pursuits slowly falling by the wayside. This isn't always overt, it can be subtle. Perhaps your partner complains when you spend time on your hobbies, labeling them as wasting time or being selfish. Maybe they simply don't value intellectual curiosity, and your attempts to share new knowledge are met with boredom or derision, making you hesitant to bring them up. From a Stoic perspective, the cultivation of wisdom and knowledge, Sophia, is a core virtue. Engaging with the world, learning, and developing new skills are all aspects of living a life in accordance with reason and improving one's eudaimonia or flourishing. When a relationship actively discourages these pursuits, it's directly undermining your ability to live a virtuous and fulfilling life. Psychologically, letting go of these interests can lead to a profound sense of loss, a diminished sense of self, and a lack of purpose. Your hobbies and interests are often extensions of your identity, expressions of your unique personality and creativity. When they are neglected or suppressed, you lose a vital part of what makes you, you. You become less interesting to yourself, and paradoxically, sometimes less interesting to others. The vibrancy that these activities bring to your life slowly fades, leaving a void where personal enrichment once thrived. The sixth sign is when you find yourself constantly sacrificing your own needs, values, or boundaries for the sake of the relationship, without genuine reciprocity. In any partnership, compromise is essential. There will be times when you both need to bend a little, to meet in the middle. However, a healthy compromise feels balanced. It's a give and take where both partners feel heard and respected, and the adjustments are mutual. In a relationship that stifles growth, you'll notice a distinct pattern of one-sided sacrifice. You are consistently the one adjusting your plans, changing your values to align with your partners, or letting your boundaries be breached to avoid conflict or keep the peace. Perhaps you've stopped advocating for things that are important to you, or you've let go of non-negotiables that once defined your integrity. From a Stoic standpoint, understanding what is truly within your control, your responses, your character, your values is fundamental. Marcus Aurelius emphasized the importance of maintaining your inner integrity, your ruling faculty. When you repeatedly compromise your core values or neglect your fundamental needs to appease another, you are relinquishing control over your own moral landscape. Psychologically, this consistent sacrifice leads to resentment, a profound loss of self-respect, and a distorted sense of identity. You start to believe that your needs are less important, that your voice doesn't matter, and that your happiness is secondary to your partner's. This erodes your self-worth and creates a cycle of unhealthy codependency, where your sense of value is derived from how much you can give or sacrifice for your partner, rather than from your inherent worth. This isn't love, it's a slow chipping away at the foundations of your self-esteem, leaving you vulnerable and diminished. Another clear indicator is a reluctance or inability to take healthy risks or embrace new challenges because of your partner's disapproval or fear of change. Growth, by its very nature, involves stepping outside of our comfort zones, trying new things, and embracing the unknown. This might mean pursuing a new career path, moving to a different city, learning a complex skill, or even just adopting a healthier lifestyle. In a supportive relationship, your partner encourages this brave exploration, offering encouragement and a sense of security as you navigate uncertainty. They understand that evolution is part of life. However, in a relationship that is detrimental to your growth, you might find yourself paralyzed by the thought of making significant changes. Your partner might actively discourage your ambitions, emphasizing the potential for failure or the disruption it would cause to their own comfort. They might react with fear, anger, or even guilt-tripping whenever you propose something new. From a Stoic perspective, courage, Andrea, is a cardinal virtue. To live fully is to embrace the challenges of life, to face difficulties with resilience, and to continuously improve oneself. When a relationship becomes a barrier to this courage, when it fosters fear and stagnation, it directly contradicts the Stoic ideal of a proactive and engaged life. Psychologically, this can lead to a phenomenon called learned helplessness on a grander scale. You stop seeing opportunities for growth because the anticipated negative reaction from your partner is too overwhelming. You start to play it safe, staying small and predictable, even if it means sacrificing your potential and ultimately your happiness. This isn't about protecting you. It's about holding you captive in a comfort zone that has become a cage, preventing you from ever reaching your full potential. The eighth sign is when you experience a consistent feeling of being blamed or responsible for all the problems in the relationship, or for your partner's unhappiness. In any healthy relationship, both partners take responsibility for their own actions and contribute to problem solving. There's an understanding that conflict is often a two-way street, and communication involves mutual effort. However, in a relationship that inhibits your growth, you might find yourself perpetually in the hot seat. Every argument, Every negative emotion your partner experiences, every challenge they face somehow gets traced back to something you did or didn't do. Your partner might skillfully deflect blame, play the victim, or use guilt to manipulate you into taking responsibility for their feelings and choices. From a Stoic perspective, discerning what is within our control versus what is not is paramount. We are responsible for our own thoughts, actions, and reactions, but not for the choices or emotions of others. When a relationship forces you to carry the burden of another person's entire emotional landscape, it's a profound violation of this Stoic principle. Psychologically, this constant blame and responsibility shifting leads to immense guilt, anxiety, and a feeling of inadequacy. You start to believe you are fundamentally flawed, that you are the source of all problems. This erodes your self-esteem and makes it incredibly difficult to trust your own judgment. You become hyper-vigilant, constantly trying to anticipate and prevent your partner's negative reactions, which is an exhausting and ultimately futile endeavor. This isn't partnership. It's a dynamic that turns you into a perpetual scapegoat, preventing you from focusing your energy on your own growth and well-being because you're too busy trying to fix someone else's. Finally, a powerful indicator that a relationship is destroying your growth is a pervasive feeling of dread or anxiety about the future, both for yourself and for the relationship itself. When a relationship is supportive and healthy, it provides a sense of security and a foundation from which you can confidently plan and anticipate a positive future. You envision growing together, facing challenges as a team, and evolving individually within the framework of your shared life. However, in a relationship that stifles your growth, this sense of optimistic anticipation is replaced by a murky sense of uncertainty, fear, or even dread. You might find yourself avoiding thinking about the future, or when you do, it fills you with a sense of unease. Perhaps you quietly worry about whether you'll ever achieve your personal goals within this dynamic, or if your partner will ever truly change. The prospect of growth, of becoming more, feels like a distant, unattainable fantasy. From a Stoic perspective, while we should live in the present and not be overly anxious about things outside our control, we are still rational beings capable of planning and striving for a virtuous future. When a relationship constantly overshadows your hope and clarity about what lies ahead, it fundamentally undermines your ability to project a positive path for yourself. Psychologically, chronic anxiety about the future is incredibly debilitating. It saps your energy, creativity, and motivation. You become stuck in a state of apprehension, unable to fully embrace the present or confidently step into tomorrow. This isn't just about minor disagreements. It's a deep-seated fear that the very trajectory of your life is being skewed, that you are missing out on your potential, and that your brightest future lies outside of this particular dynamic. It's a quiet whisper, or sometimes a loud roar, from your inner self, urging you to seek a path that truly allows you to flourish.